Hello, and welcome to the Cherry Becker Government Contractors Podcast, where we will discuss current government contracting trends, compliance matters, and best practices to guide federal contractors forward. My name is Shaydah Naraghi. I'm a consulting manager, and I've been working for Cordia, now as Cherry Bekaert, for over 8 years. I have worked with a wide range of ERP systems, and throughout the years, I have focused on government contracting systems with an expertise in Unanet. I've been fully certified in Unanet implementation since 2018. With me today is Christine DeYuliis, and today we're going to discuss an overview of Unanet. Christine, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Shaydah. Let me give you a little bit of background about myself. So I am Christine DeYuliis. I am a senior manager here at Cherry Bekaert. I have a couple dozen years of experience in the GovCon world. My career started after school at Virginia Tech. I went to Deloitte and Touche and was in their government contracting practice. From there, I moved into industry, and then over the couple of dozen years, I went back and forth between consulting opportunities where I'd work for a consulting company, providing GovCon, accounting, financial support, and then going back into running financial departments for small to mid-sized government contractors. About 6 years ago, I decided to kind of shift my career just a little bit, and I had to bring in my accounting information systems degree. And so I became Unanet certified. I worked for Unanet for a few years, and then I came over to, was Cherry Bekaert. Was Cordia, now to Cherry Bekaert. And so the mix of government contracting, finance experience, and then the Unanet certification really allows me to kind of broaden my consulting. I really enjoy working with companies that are in that small to mid-size to help them develop a foundation for growth across the systems, the finances, internal controls, all those different areas. So very excited to be talking to you today.
So Christine, with your experience in Unanet, are you familiar with how the software got its name?
It did. Back in the day, Chris and Fran Craig, who started the software, they really were looking at, they wanted to make one network of applications. When they started the system, you could go, get time one place, expenses, project management. There's all these different software. Since they wanted to make one, so Unanet was one system. So it's a full life cycle ERP. Everything from planning projects to your day-to-day operations, time, expense, financials. And at the end, of course, you get your project reporting, your financial reporting, customer invoices, and then it can take that all the way through project closeout. So it's one system that allows you to do the full project life cycle.
Awesome. One and all. So based on your experience, how long does it typically take a company and its employees to adapt to the time and expense modules?
Great question. Most, we do a training is provided to employees, probably anywhere from 20 to 30, 45 minutes to walk through time and expenses. Manuals are provided, or guidelines are provided, checklists, there we go, are provided. Employers are really able to pick up on entering time and expenses relatively quickly. Unanet, I think, is more a simpler software, very user-friendly. Unanet also developed their mobile app, which allows time and expense reporting. So it's available wherever the employees may be. So I think what we've seen with, or at least what I've seen with my customers, the time and expense pieces are very easily adaptable and adoptable for any and all employees.
One of my favorite things a client had said to me after they went live with time and expense was that was the biggest non-event that they had experienced. So I think that just goes to show how easy it is to just seamlessly move from one time and expense module into Unanets. So what size does a company typically need to be to start up on Unanet?
Um, like you can start from 5 employees to 500 employees to 1,000 employees. We typically recommend, right, to get started as soon as you really have the cash flows to pick up a software, because Unanet is simple, user friendly, it's scalable. Whatever size your company is, I think it's a great time to start on Unanet. Unanet provides the one system, it provides compliance, it provides you to have access to the data as you need it. It allows you to customize the software. It's why you can take it, off the shelf. It's best, the Unanet does have the flexibility to customize it. So what you need, your real-time project reporting, getting the right data into the right hands. But yes, you can start as small as 5 employees and allow Unanet to grow with you, or you can jump in at 1,000 and allow Unanet to become that foundation, where you're at.
Okay, so you said you could start as soon as 5 employees, but what if that company has no idea what they want their accounting structure to be or their reporting structure? Would you still recommend them to get started with the implementation?
I would. We can start them with a very basic organization structure, accounting structure, project structure. As they grow and as they define, who they are in their markets, or as they branch off, as they develop new revenue streams, we are able to modify Unanet. You are not stuck in any sort of organization structure, accounting structure. With organizations, you can split them up, build, bring them together. We also have had quite a few clients who go through mergers and acquisitions where they're able to divest a branch, or they're able to acquire a company and it kind of flows right into their departments. I definitely think, and the project structure is also very, you can have one bucket for a statement of work, or you can break that statement of work into multiple buckets based on project reporting, customer invoicing. I'm trying the other word is certain, but you can break up a project or a statement of work into multiples. You can keep it as one, and that you don't have to have one project structure for your entire company. You can have multiple project structures.
It's really great because Unanet does grow with the companies. You don't have to use all the bells and whistles if your company's small right at the get-go. You can grow and advance with all the modules as your company grows. So like one that we see is the forecasting module is typically used in the second phase of implementations. Once they realize how user-friendly Unanet is and they can go in and all their real-time reports are useful, now they're ready to start going in and planning at their resource level for all their projects. They're really empowered with their own system.
Great point.
Yeah, so going into a kind of a different section, how can Unanet support DCAA and FAR compliance in their accounting system?
Absolutely. As we know, a software can only really support it, right? It's the entire organization, so it'll be the software plus your processes. However, Unanet does have property settings that are recommended. You can go right onto their Unanet at support.com to look at their recommended property settings for DCAA compliance. Included in those, of course, are, ensuring timesheets are completed on a daily basis, that they are submitted, who has access to modify your timesheets and your expenses, ensuring that managers can't just do a quick, yep, check through of time and expense. They actually have to look at the details of that timesheet and expense report. Now, with that, there's also notifications and reminders that Unanet can send out to the employees and the management team to let them know that time has not been filled in for the prior day, or time needs to be submitted, time needs to be approved. So there's all those approval workflows as well. So you can see, who needs to approve. The internal controls, you can have your project management team be involved in reviewing your timesheets, your expense reports, your vendor invoices and your customer invoices to ensure that everything in those documents is accurate before it does get posted to your GL and or invoiced to the customer. There are reports you can run for floor checks. There are reports that you can run to ensure that you're meeting DoD or federal regulations. Any of those data points, Unanet can either, if it does not currently have a report, one can definitely be created using any one of its reporting capabilities.
Yeah. Unanet does a great job with their audit trails, and not just the time and expense audit trails, but the financial module too. For all your financial transactions, you have a timestamp for the end use, the submitted, and the approval, and the final posting. So you can really track through the chain of hands that things had touched. So I think that that's also a great feature as well.
And there's one other thing that I didn't touch on, and that is with the compliance, there are certain forms, reports that you need to be able to complete, whether it is your incurred cost submission, if you have cost plus, if you're a prime on cost plus contracts, if you want to be able to have an SF 1408 assessment or an audit. The Unanet, with the reporting, with the structure, it is able to seamlessly support those, the creation of those forms or the review of the 1408 criteria.
I am so glad that you mentioned that. I'm actually working on a SF 1408 right now for a client on the Unanet software, and I had done one a few weeks back on another software I will not name, and it is night and day in comparison to how easy it is to pull the supporting reports I need to verify this SF 1408. So the reporting capability in Unanet really just supports all the compliance needs that you have as a government contractor.
Excellent.
Another piece is purchase orders. Can Unanet track from start to finish a full life cycle of purchase
Great question. So Unanet's purchasing functionality originally was developed to focus on subcontractor purchase orders. So you are able to set up the original purchase order for that subcontractor agreement, as well as modifications, be able to report on those, send the purchase orders to the client. If you need to add compliance, you can add in purchase requisitions if you need to get more additional approval workflows. With those subcontract agreements / purchase orders, you are able to identify specific lines based on labor category, bill rate, if those are applicable, who the person is who is going to be working on that, the specific subcontractor. So if it's a T&M or a cost plus, or even if it's a fixed price level of effort where you need to identify specifically the resource, the hours, you're able to build all that into your purchase order. From that purchase order, we have found it's beneficial for those sub-vendor employees to be able to enter their time directly into Unanet, to allow you to create your customer invoice in a more efficient, quicker time frame than waiting for that subcontractor vendor invoice. And Unanet, you can either have those sub-employees log into your Unanet instance, or Unanet has also created what they're calling a subcontractor portal. So it's another avenue that's linked to your Unanet instance, but those sub-vendor employees will not be able to access anything but seeing the details of their specific purchase order and then the timesheets for their subcontractor employees that you have assigned. That subcontractor can go in and add in new vendor employees. They can add in and link those vendor employees to purchase order lines. And then as an administrator within Unanet, you'll be able to review that profile setup, ensure that everything is accurate. At the end of each timesheet period, you'll be able to see and review those timesheets internal within Unanet, and then you'll be able to invoice your customer in a timely manner. And then on the other side too, Unanet has now developed the ability to invoice or create purchase orders for widgets, items, anything where you need a quantity, and they have built that out as well. Units of measure, all those pieces linked to your expense types or expense categories. So they really have built up both the subcontracting purchase orders as well as purchase orders for supplies, materials, and those type of things.
That's awesome. I mean, it's really amazing to see the workflow that you can track through that, and the ownership is put back on the subcontractors, and it really just speeds things up on your invoicing side. So I know we're running out of time, but before we do go, I just want to talk about what resources Unanet can provide during implementations and post-implementation.
I think that's a great question. As you're within Unanet, you can link to a help you documents right within your, after logging into the instance on multiple screens and dashboards. It will then take you to help doc specific. They also have a fantastic, they actually now call it a customer experience site at unanet@support.com. And it has everything from knowledge-based articles, which goes into the technical details of data fields on different screens. It goes into processes, let's say for importing, exporting timesheets. It goes into processes of how to do your billing and revenue posts or creating customer invoices. And it also then it just has different articles that might be specific to different parts of the government contracting or commercial or not-for-profit industries. There's also the Unanet University, which is also underneath that same umbrella, which also has some free courses that on a variety of topics. They also have webinars that come out every quarter when they release their Unanet functionality upgrades, which is fantastic that they're continuing to update the functionality. They really do listen to their customers and their audience to make improvements or to maybe even modify a functionality that's been around that could be tweaked to make it more efficient and more user-friendly.
Well, it just sounds like they're constantly empowering their end users and listening to feedback, which is great. That is all the time we have today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Christine, myself, or email unanet-support@cbh.com. We thank everyone for tuning in and listening. So please make sure to follow us on wherever you listen to your podcast.